ready when you are.
Go for it.
I went to Washington because I have this thing. I love other people's money. I rode a carousel grabbing other people's rings. I love other people's money. I was getting nowhere, it was penny ante stuff. Life can be a bitch, you know the competition's tough. I don't care what you have, I can never have enough. Oh, I love other people's money. I love other people's money, I can put them in their place. I love other people's money, it's a flavor I can taste. Ruined reputations are gathered on the floor. I live by my father's motto, which is more, place and polka. Everybody dance. Oh, you may call me vengeful, and I tell you, thank you, man. I love other people's money. I buy my politicians up. Hey, you were not elected, so I don't give a damn. I love other people's money. I buy my politicians half a dozen at a time. I value them more greatly if they're guilty of a crime. I'm what they call a patriot. I don't mind the slime. Oh, I love other people's money. I love other people's money. I can put them in their place. I love other people's money. It's a flavor I can taste. Ruined reputations are scattered on the floor. I live by my father's motto, which was more. My daddy gave me nothing, just a couple $1,000,000, and those workers I refuse to pay are simply out of luck. And the rest of you old suckers are a lake of sitting ducks. Oh, I love other people's. I love other people's. I love other people's money.
Wow. Well, we are live with Cathy and Marcy, with Cathy Fink and Marcy Marxer, and talking about politics and music mostly, and just what's the role of the arts in times like these right now, which are so enervating, full of, designed to foment fear, uncertainty, designed to divide us. And music for ages has played a role in grappling with these kinds of questions and times. And it's just great to be with you. You've had some, the word viral is, overused, but you've had some pretty significant hits lately on the internet with some of your songs. This is Andy Revkin. I'm in Down East Maine, doing the Sustain What webcast, which on Sunday nights is called Sunday Sanity. And first of all, I just want to kind of have you say hello. How you doing? You seem to hold up pretty well, even with what's going on. Maybe just Cathy first and Marcy, just describe, how you wake up in the morning these days. And then we'll get into a little bit of the background of how you became who you are musically. And but how do you grapple with this kind of moment?
It's a big moment. And a large part of how we grapple with it is channeling into the music that we make and the art that we make and the community that we try to build with that. And we do that in our work as a duo. We do that in our work with Tom Paxton. I'm going to turn that off so we don't have it for the whole thing. We do that in our work with Tom Paxton. And we also do that in our work in our other band called From China to Appalachia, which is Marcy and myself and a wonderful Chinese Chinese dulcimer player named Chao Tian. And we do it differently in each of those ways. Marcy and I have a big repertoire of songs. A lot of them go back to early songs in political movements in Appalachian Mountains. We also have a long history, as does Tom Paxton, of being influenced by and lucky enough to have worked with Pete Seeger quite a bit. And then in the and we both write songs with Tom. Tom and I have been on a songwriting kind of journey every Wednesday for the last 5 years at this point. And we've written songs together before, but now we've made a commitment to it. And then with From China to Appalachia, I think we are making a concerted effort to sort of create this music that is what I'm going to call cultural diplomacy. And it helps everybody rise above all of the noise, but understand just by virtue of looking at us that what we share is much more important than what our differences are. And that we can share this music, we can talk about different cultures, we can merge Chinese and Appalachian music. That group has also had a fair amount of sort of viral activity, particularly on TikTok, but also in some other places. And by building that community, part of it is quite young. And like we did a festival about a month ago together, and there are a bunch of our TikTok fans in the back of this big barn where we were playing, creating their own line dance to this music. And they had only come to this festival because From China to Appalachia was there. While they're there, they get exposed to all this other great music. But I feel like, every time we turn around, what Marcy and I are working on together is building community. And political songs become part of that. Topical songs become part of that. When possible, we also try to throw some humor in there so that, it'd be easy right now to write one sad dirge after another, but I don't think it's motivating. So we want to raise people up.
And music has so many different functions and voices. That what you were talking about, the international aspect is wonderful. And the internet has allowed for us to convene globally around music. When I started this podcast, webcast, whatever you call it, 5 years ago, through a very loose connection, a young guy in Zambia, a really good folk musician, activist, came on the show, and he ended up recording, some stuff with some of my Hudson Valley folky friends, and they did that sort of mashup thing you can do digitally, and that's really marvelous what you're doing. But getting to the fun, sort of serious fun, I thought we would play the video of your song about the Epstein files, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. This is a rare topical song that I wrote by myself. In fact, I called Tom a few times from the car. I was on my way from spending a week at Hindman Appalachian Writers Workshop in Kentucky to the Clifftop Appalachian Music Festival. Mm-hmm. And I had this idea for the song, It Ain't Gonna Go Away. The Epstein files were bugging me like crazy. And I started writing the song, pulled over to a couple of gas stations trying to call Tom. Hey, Tom, if you're home, we got to write this song together. And I never could reach him. And I just kept on writing it while I drove, got to Clifftop, West Virginia, where 3,000 people camp and play old time music and lots of other music for a week. Gathered a bunch of friends and say, hey, everybody, are you willing to learn this song? Let's make a video. And we probably played it 3 times, and then we hit the record button, and now it's had over 1 million views on YouTube. And before you play it, I want to say that one of the interesting things, because you talk about bridging communities with this music, like the people that you just said from Gambia, I actually read all the comments in this thread, and there have been over 7,500 of them. I'm going to tell you that 20% of the comments come from people in other countries to whom a song like this sends a message that there is still sanity and reason and people who are willing to work for justice and democracy in the United States. And we're getting that message out there in lots of ways. So
that's great. Back in February, I did a webcast with a team based in Europe who track autocracy vital signs indicating if countries are going toward autocracy or democracy. And they they had one of the statistics that was most disturbing was that basically 3/4 of the world's population right now lives under autocratic rule. Of course, China and India are a giant chunk of that. And so that idea of making sure everyone understands that you can have a voice some way or somehow is really great. So yeah, let's go to the, as they used to say, let's go to the videotape. Warner Wolf. Hold on.
In a sleazy kind of way. You don't want us to have a look on a presidential day. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. You can fire more people, you can try to distract, but it ain't gonna work this time. There's lots of pages you'd like to redact while you're slipping with the slime. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. You can go to Scotland, you can go play golf, you can go to war today. You can point your finger at everyone else, but it ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. We won't stop singing till we see those names in a book we want to read. The victims all deserve that till we root out each bad seed. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. It ain't gonna go away. Those Epstein files gonna bite your butt, and it ain't gonna go away.
Absolutely fantastic, of course. So
It's the real raw
So much
thing,
fun.
you know.
now, I'm turning 70 next year. You're probably, you probably have your AARP card, etc.
I'm 72 and proud of it.
I'll be turning
Hoorah.
70 in a few months.
So then, but we're talking about TikTok and all these things. So tell us about how you started to integrate with online media. Obviously, a lot of musicians, you probably had a YouTube channel and stuff for a long time, but TikTok is a different animal, etc. So how has that kind of become part of how you communicate such
Well,
analog music?
it's, basically, if you make a living as an independent, non-commercial musician, social media is, it's part of what you have to do. I'm going to tell you honestly that if this isn't what I did for a living, I wouldn't do social media. And I have strong feelings about both the pros and the cons of social media. But at this point, the way the world works, our presenters expect us to promote our shows. We make friends with new audiences by doing this kind of social media stuff. And so TikTok for us, I didn't really understand TikTok, and I don't think anybody really understands it. Yeah, you're showing one now that has like 6 million views. And we went out to the back porch with Chow Tien and improvised around some old time tunes, and it struck something that really resonated with people. And I kind of love that. My original journey with TikTok happened because I was just completing by a couple of months chemo and radiation and cancer treatment. Marcy had 7 years before that been through all of that, we made a film called All Wigged Out, and it's a theatrical comedy musical, of all things, about her experience with breast cancer.
Of course.
And about the time
It's a
that
comedy.
film was released, I got my own diagnosis, and we still released the film. And I literally was doing the promotion from my chemo chair. And when my hair started growing back, it happened to be in October, I guess 2 years ago. And I thought, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I'm just going to go on TikTok and remind people, get your mammograms and, look what happens here. And so, I started that way, and it didn't change anybody's life, but, I felt like it was one of the many ways that I could put a message out there. And then, all of a sudden we were throwing some music up there that we were playing in the kitchen with Chow Tien. And one day one went viral. It was just something that we taught Chow that day. We taught her a tune. She taught us a tune. We put them together in an arrangement called Glory in the Meeting House and Lord Gloria, an Appalachian tune, a Chinese tune. They fit together. We made this arrangement, and, the algorithm gods shined on us, and then it got, shared by lots of people. And for the next 2 months, it filled our audiences with a lot of people who had never previously heard of us, didn't really have any experience with this music. It did bring a new audience, and it's arbitrary. It's not like you can make stuff like that happen,
Right?
but it's arbitrary, and it's just one of the many things we do. We don't count on it for anything, but I'll say that we do a lot of events. We were at the Winnipeg Folk Festival. It was the 50th anniversary. I played the first Winnipeg Folk Festival in 1974. I turned 21. Marcy played it many times with her band, originally with her band, the Bosom Buddies, string band from Michigan. And then we did it as a duo many times. And we got to go as a trio with Chow. And we met a woman who flew from Atlanta, Georgia to Winnipeg, Manitoba, specifically to see our band because she was a TikTok fan.
Fascinating.
I love that. And in fact, next week, it should be on NBC Nightly News. They filmed a segment with us in their section on good news on Sunday night. And they became aware of us because of TikTok and fell in love with our music because of TikTok. And they also saw it as music that helps raise people's spirits and helps people stay connected and understand that as different as we all are, we can be in the same room with this music. And we filmed that segment a couple of days ago. Should be on next week. The news cycle is what it is, and sometimes they move things around. But I feel like, that's been an opportunity with a large grain of salt and a bunch of luck. But as you well know, 9 out of 10 times luck comes to people who are working hard.
Well, yeah, working hard and experimenting. I think testing, as you were saying, you're not going to catch a fish if you're don't have a line in the ocean.
I think that's well put. And I think also it actually is really a joy for us to play music together, either as a duo or bringing Chow in stretches both of us to do new things. And I think that joy spreads around. Somebody at the same festival where a bunch of TikTok kids were dancing in the background, their own line dance that they created to a piece of our music. A woman came up to me after the show and just said, I had no idea how much I needed this. Thank you. And that means that we're serving the purpose that we're dreaming of, that it's more than just listening to music, and it's more than just hearing a happy melody, that it's reaching people someplace where it counts at a time where they need it more than they ever thought they did.
Yeah. This is a Library of Congress video of you with her, I believe. Can I play just a few seconds of it, just so people?
Oh, absolutely, go for it.
Let's see. just great.
Yeah, you can see me in my post-chemo hair there. And
Yeah.
I just, bravely went out there and said, that's what my hair looks like now. And that was a little piece of a tune called the Pig Ankle Rag, which is obviously an American tune, not a Chinese tune.
Right. Well, I mean, it's clear that the two of you just thrive on the playing you do together. So maybe there's another tune you want to play live here?
Yeah.
Sure. What do you want to do?
Let's do Grateful.
Okay.
And then at some point we want to pull out both of our banjos, and there's a sound that we've created together that I feel is really kind of unique. But Grateful is a song that Tom and I wrote, but it was in honor. I'm actually gonna say at this point, it was really in honor of two people. One of them is Eva Cassidy, who we got to know before she passed away so way too early in her life, but just an amazing songbird, really an amazing songbird. And we spent a little bit of time with her, not that much. Marcy spent a bit more than I did.
I played on one of her records.
And then she was very close friends with our friend Grace Griffith. And Grace was a phenomenal singer mostly in Celtic style.
Mm-hmm.
And Grace was responsible for the world hearing Eva Cassidy. I mean, when Grace got signed to Blick Street Records, who are the people who put out Eva's albums, the first thing she did was she sent some of Eva's music and said, hey, you need to hear this. This is like amazing. And they put out Eva's albums, and what happened there. I mean, it went enormous. And the world, had Grace not done that, would never have heard Eva. Now, she had already passed away. She didn't even live to see her musical career take off. Mm. But we're good friends with Eva's parents, and we were very dear friends with Grace. For 15 years, we helped her navigate a very challenging time with Parkinson's disease, and she passed away a couple years ago. Tom also really loved her dearly, and when Grace passed away, it must have been 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
And Tom and I wanted to write a song that allowed us to not only recognize Grace and how grateful we were to have gotten to hear her and know her, but it was also a time when a lot of people were losing folks through COVID and the devastation of the whole disease. So this is called Grateful. I've been lucky in the love that's come my way, and the friends I've made are the kinds of friends who stay. Some are with me now, and some have traveled on. Their love is with me yet, though they have gone. And I'm grateful for the love that will not die. I'm grateful as years go slipping by. I'm grateful to be able to sing this song. My gratitude to you is ever strong. There are times when my loneliness is won, and others when you were the only one to lift me up and make me smile again. I can't tell you what it means to be a friend, and I'm grateful for love that will not die. I'm grateful as years go slipping by. I'm grateful to be able to sing this song. My gratitude to you is ever strong. just to make you smile. You show me how to go that extra mile. And I'm grateful for the love that will not die. I'm grateful as the years go slipping by. I'm grateful to be able to sing this song. My gratitude to you is ever strong. And I'm grateful for the love that will not die. I'm grateful as the years go slipping by. I'm grateful to be able to sing this song. My gratitude to you is ever strong.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think, I just love that song, and Tom loves that song, and I feel like it pays great tribute to Grace as well.
Yeah. That gets back to the notion that music has all these different themes and flavors and approaches. Yeah, the pieces you've done recently that have gotten the most traction do have the humor in them, and they make me think back to the sort of New York-based fast folk movement and Jack Hardy, who I'm sure you ran into.
We barely ran into Jack, and that's, that was just, we didn't spend much time in New York.
Yeah, I know. Well, as I was saying at the beginning, there are these compartments to the folk scene in America, it seems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
we're certainly aware of that scene, and we know that Christine Lavin, who's a good friend, was a big part of it, and
This song was from the George W. Bush era when he was the worst president ever. And let me just play it because it resonates.
Don't we long for those days?
Yeah, I know. I wish Jack were still alive to see what he would have written about where we are now. Hold on.
Stuck in traffic at stop and go speed, I like to entertain myself with all of the bumper stickers I can read. Humor's hidden wealth. There's Nuke the Gay Whales and World Peas, but by far the one most clever. It gave no name, laid no blame, just said the worst president ever. Well, black is white and white is black. There's yellow cake in Iraq. Weapons of mass destruction, reconstruction still on track. When the Wall Street Journal and Fox News endorse our president for life forever, their polls will attest he is still the best, worst president ever. The worst president ever. The worst president ever. Don't forget, you bumbling fools, you're the ones that pull the lever. If you just can't wait to 2008 to say no, nay, never, it ain't a reach, we could still impeach the worst president ever. Well, he sold our soul to the corporate goals. The Enron hangover still hurts. It'll take years to calm our fears from color code alerts. If we ever survive his Supreme Court, there's a few things we'll have to sever, like church and state and the Fourth Estate and the worst president ever. Well, Wolfowitz, Rumsfeld, Karl Rove, Scooter Libby, and all their kind Rats leaving a sinking ship. Guess who's left behind? Maybe there's space in the Star Wars race, or a spot on the space shuttle Endeavor to the moon. None too soon for the worst president ever. The worst president ever. The worst president ever. Don't forget you bumbling fools, you're the ones that pull the lever. If you just can't wait till 2008 to say no, nay, never, it ain't a reach, we could still impeach the worst president ever. Well, you can dress him up in a cowboy hat or a monkey suit in style. You can try to hide his blue blood and the best schooling money can buy. You can rig all of the voting machines and the voterless counterfeit, when all the while he's just a pile of the worst president ever. Well, there's 9/11 and Abu Ghraib and torture at the CIA. But he gets his interns from Bible college. They never even heard of a BJ. But there's plenty left to investigate if only the Congress had balls. But we're out of time and I'm out of rhymes for the worst president ever. The worst president ever. The worst president ever. Don't forget you bumbling fools, we're the ones that pull the lever. If we just can't wait till 2008 to say no, nay, never, it ain't a reach, we can still impeach the worst president ever. Everybody, the worst president ever. The worst president ever. Don't forget you bumbling fools, we're the ones that pull the lever. If we just can't wait till 2008 to say no, nay, never, it ain't a reach, we can still impeach the worst president ever.
There you go.
You know, that song makes me think a lot
That's
of
great.
the 1980s time when Cy Khan had a great song. We've got government on horseback again.
Back
In the days when congressmen were men. I can't remember all the words, but you know,
Okay.
the government on horseback song with
Reagan.
Reagan. You know,
Oh yeah.
this is a tradition. This is the kind of thing that we do. In fact, Marcy, let's go to the key of C here
Okay.
and throw in this song that we never sing, but I sang it at Folk Alliance because Folk Alliance was in Montreal this year.
Yes, I wish I could have been there. I wanted to go badly.
Oh, yeah, you should go to the cello banjo here. Tom and I just stole a handy fiddle tune. Da 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 da. I'm gonna tune this properly. And yeah, you can hold on to your jokes. It can be done on a banjo.
Oh, banjo.
Oh, they're not like us. They let folks in. They don't wake up yelling, win, win, win. 5,000 miles of border we share. The DEI is legal there. That's why I love Canada. Maple syrup, maple jam, the Canadian Canoe Museum, ginger ale and butter tarts. Polite, excuse me, after farts. That's why I love Canada. Martin Short and Leonard Cohen, Joni Mitchell's urge for going. Once they had a big World's Fair. Donald Trump is not from there. That's why I love Canada. 1,000 years peace, the old city of Montreal, one half of Niagara Falls. That's why I love Canada. Oh, they never started a goddamn war. They never yelled for more, more, more. They still respect democracy. Oh, Canada, how I love thee. That's why I love Canada. And the best part of Canada is Canadians.
Fantastic. What are you listening to when you're not composing more stuff? What do you see out there currently? You go on TikTok or elsewhere. I mean, Jesse
I don't
Wells.
go to social
Yes.
media to learn new music, although I'm a big fan of Jesse Wells and he's doing great stuff.
It's amazing.
But at 72, social media is not the first place I think of when it comes to finding new music. We're in a big music community, and
Right.
people are making new music and recommending friends all the time. One of our favorite, there's a bunch of young people that we love. Sam Gleaves is one. We did an album with Sam called Ain't We Brothers. No, I produced an album of Sam's called Ain't We Brothers, but then we did a whole
Shout and shine.
Shout and Shine project together, and he's still writing beautiful songs. And Sam introduced us to the music of a woman named Sarah Kate Morgan, who lives in Hindman, Kentucky now. And she is just on the Appalachian dulcimer. She just plays stuff that I didn't know could be played. And she's also a beautiful singer of traditional music, as well as a fantastic songwriter. We love what she's doing. Excuse me.
It's kind of interesting that when Pete met us, he met us separately, and Tom met us separately. But the feeling of a young person looking at your heroes and having them get excited that you're there, it's wonderful. And that's how we feel about Sam and Sarah Kate and a bunch of the other young people coming into this music who actually have been in it long enough to have a really strong foothold. It's really phenomenal to see.
But we also, I mean, we've got pretty broad taste. Marcy and I love jazz and swing. We love the early Django Reinhardt stuff. We play a lot of that music. We play a little tiny bit of klezmer music, but we're listening to more and more of it right now. It's drawing us in because of a project that we're working on with Chow, having to do with the 20,000 Jews who lived in China during the Holocaust. I want to say they escaped to China, but some of them escaped and some of them were literally shuttled there by the Germans and the Japanese and a whole bunch of people. But that's kind of put us in this place of listening to some music that wasn't typically in our soundtrack. And we're really enjoying that. There's a fella from Malawi named Peter Mwanga that we were introduced to through Andrew Finn McGill. And Andrew McGill is a phenomenal jazz violinist and Irish and folk fiddle player from Asheville. And he has been working with Peter for many years. We went to a concert of theirs recently, and we're looking forward to some collaborations with Peter. He's a beautiful guitar player, singer, songwriter, has all this Malawian percussion stuff that he does. And so, we're kind of all over the place in terms of what we listen to, and there's no like one genre or one thing that draws us these days.
You did mention the face-to-face stuff. Obviously, we had the hiatus with COVID, but we moved to Maine from the Hudson Valley. The Hudson Valley, we had the Beacon Sloop Club. That's where I met Pete 25 years ago. Actually, way longer ago, my wife and I met through Pete, and
That's great.
And we've been married almost 30 years. So, but the get-togethers, the jams are great. And here in Maine, there's a thing called a kitchen junket. I don't know if there's anything in DC. I know you have the songwriters get together, but the kitchen junket is. It's like a potluck jamboree and sing along. It's not really a song swap, where one person sings a song and the next one sings a song. It's a real jam, and and it's just people getting together each week and doing it consistently, like you do with Tom Paxton.
Well, we're writing with Tom a lot, but those kinds of
That's wonderful community.
jams and song circles happen here in the DC area, in lots of people's homes. We host them quite a bit. There's a guy in DC now who's hosting one once a month that he brings a lot of people out.
Oh, sorry about the music. Hold on.
I used to sing and strum up on the stage all by myself.
Hold on. That's a song I wrote about.
Great.
Anyway.
What we sometimes call them is guitar pulls.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
going
sure.
around the room, and of course, Marcy and I also host a lot of those in the ukulele community. We run, or we're the artistic directors of a fabulous ukulele festival at the Music Center at Strathmore here in North Bethesda, Maryland. And, sort of a centerpiece of those kinds of festivals are jam sessions, community music,
Yeah.
trading around the room, that kind of thing. And even when we go to things like Clifftop, we're Clifftop Appalachian Music Festival. Sometimes you're playing in large groups all together, and sometimes you're like just going around the circle. Who's got a song? Who's got a tune they want to lead? So
Right.
that's pretty, that's an ongoing part of it, whether or not we're on stage. People go like, what's your hobby? Or what are your hobbies? And we each have a couple of hobbies that don't have to do with holding instruments, but in addition to music being our livelihood, music is one of our big hobbies.
For sure. And here, hold on. I want to just play. Oh, here he is. There's music that isn't necessarily viral that is making meaning. And last year I met a retired seaweed farmer, kelp farmer up here in Maine, who at one of these things, get-togethers, and he said, I got this song and I want to get it out there. This is before the election. And he's a marvelous character. He has a background that involves much more than seaweed farming. But I just want to play at least a few seconds of it because it gets at this idea that you can do this too. It's not just...
They're great.
Of course.
So hold on for 1 second, and then I want to play your... I want to talk about No King's Day and your song No Kings. Hold on a second. His name is Carl Carish, and he lives near Penobscot up here, Maine. And here we go.
I'm gonna stomp, I'm gonna bump, I'm gonna dump Trump. I'm gonna stomp, I'm gonna bump, I'm gonna dump Trump. I'm gonna stomp, I'm gonna bump, I'm gonna dump Trump. He's a liar, he's a con-man, a philanderer, a thief. This is not the man we want for our commander-in-chief. All he's ever cared for is his money and fame. Whatever works for Donald, that's the name of the game. That's why I'm gonna bump, I'm gonna stump, I'm gonna dump Trump. I'm going to register and vote, I'm going to dump Trump. I'm gonna stump, I'm gonna bump, I'm gonna dump Trump. Now I know some Republicans I call my good friends. We can talk things over, work it out in the end. But that power addict Trump and the lackeys he appoints, they'd throw our whole blessed nation out of joint. That's why I'm gonna bump, I'm gonna stump, I'm gonna dump Trump. I'm gonna register and vote, I'm gonna dump Trump.
So that's Carl Carish.
Well, I think this is, this is one of the many ways that people express themselves is, writing songs, sharing these songs. It's a great thing that we can do that.
It's probably a similar feeling if people want to know what it's like to write these songs or play these songs. It's probably similar to when people sit down and come up with fun things for their signs that they're going to hold up at the marches.
Right.
It's like it gives your mind, your heart, your soul another way to look at things other than just the terrible things that are happening. And it's power.
And it lets us channel our disappointment, our anger into something more positive. It's more, and it's a way of expressing that I think, it works for a lot of people. It's great.
Absolutely. One thing about music too is, we're mainly talking about protest songs or songs of action. There is just value in getting together and making music. I'm sure you've crossed into bluegrass, and bluegrass is all across the political dimensions. When we used to go to the Winterhawk Festival and others in the Hudson Valley, and you'd see all manner of folks getting there because they're drawn by the music. And you can play. I used to play in a band with a guy he and I had different views on fracking or on nuclear, but we played and we found common ground through the music too. So that's one other way music can get people past some of their brittle boundaries, I think.
One of the reasons why I love going to bluegrass festivals, I've always loved walking around the parking lot and looking at all the different stickers on the bumpers of the cars, totally different from each other. And everybody was jamming. I mean, I love that.
Yeah. And you see this sort of string tie bluegrass bands and then the tie-dyed bluegrass bands.
Yep, absolutely.
Neither the string ties nor the tie-dyes define which side they're on. Let me just say, you're making an assumption, and
Right.
I think it's important to not make that assumption.
Talk about that a little more.
Well, I mentioned earlier that I go through the comments on YouTube about it ain't going to go away, and I will be perfectly honest. I get rid of nasty comments. Sure. Because there are some people who are just plain nasty. They want to disagree politely. I'm all for it. I keep it up there. But there's a lot of people in those comments who just assume, somebody will say, well, that's the way a whole bunch of old lesbians feel. Well, when you look at the picture of who's playing that song, how can you look at this picture and assume that all these people are old lesbians? I mean, that's insane,
Right.
And
it might hold true for the men, but
yeah, it might. So I feel like, when you look at this picture that we're looking at now, no kings here, and that people came to sing that song, you can make an assumption about where they stand. Right. But you can't look at a picture or a band and automatically say, oh, I know what side of this argument they're on. Right. We're all individuals. And the point that you made earlier was, hey, I was in a band with somebody I disagreed with. That's part of the story. How do we do that? And then how do we have conversations where we're not yelling at each other, but instead we're having a conversation, and I do feel there's never been a time where people didn't disagree. I feel that our current, not just president, but whole administration has tried to make it seem normal to just plain be obnoxious and not tell the truth. There's nothing normal about that. We can disagree. There's a song that Tom and I wrote, and someplace in there, the line is, we can disagree with civility. And we need to remember that. We need to not let the rhetoric and the fact that Donald Trump is trying to make every announcement about the government on Truth Social and everything, every comment becomes bigger than life. That's not how we solve anything. We need discussions. We need to be willing to sit in rooms with people who disagree with us and find out what their point of view is. We need to be prepared if, it's kind of interesting. In the civil rights movement, there was a lot of training that happened to help people rise to the moment. As we all know, Rosa Parks didn't just one day wake up and say, hey, I'm not going to go to the back of the bus today. She was part of workshops at the Highlander Center with
Right.
Martin Luther King, with
Right.
Miles Horton. There were movements, there were meetings, there were trainings on peaceful disagreement, on peaceful protest. What we don't have yet is a movement that's helping us figure out, how do we do this peacefully? And of course, it's hard to think about that when you feel like, yeah, well, when they're sending in the National Guard, maybe this isn't as peaceful as we thought. But we have to be willing to try to sit down in rooms with people that we don't agree with and have real conversations.
Yeah, our candidate for Senate here, trying to defeat Susan Collins, Graham Plattner, back in June at the No Kings rally here in Ellsworth, Maine. He before he announced, he is an oyster farmer, and he was one of the peacekeepers. He had the vest on, peacekeeper, just to make sure everyone's being civil, etc. And there was a Marine veteran. Graham's a Marine veteran, and there was a guy, a Trumpy, who was trying to kind of grab the mic before it was his turn, and Graham really beautifully engaged with him. And that's one reason I'm a big supporter of him, because he didn't try to muscle him or move him away. That's a key. But as you say, it's hard. It's really hard in the heat of the moment, particularly. So.
It's hard, but that's why we need more training to meet that moment.
Yep.
And I feel like there was quite a bit of it during the civil rights movement. There was certainly some training about peaceful demonstration during the Vietnam War. And there is no question that both of those movements were powered by music, which built community, which charged the batteries. One thing's very clear. Marcy, Tom, and I all know that when we write these kinds of songs, the likelihood that we're changing somebody's mind is very small. However, we can charge the batteries of people who are trying to fight for truth and justice. We can build community, and we can reach out beyond where we are, as It Ain't Gonna Go Away did with all these comments from people from other countries. And I think that sends its own message. But we don't live in a la-la world where we think by singing these songs we're changing millions of minds. We're not. Has a mind been changed? Has an opinion been changed? Maybe. We may never know. But it's not the song that's necessarily going to do it. It may be how the song is presented in certain places where you have people of mixed opinions. And it may be that the song is an opportunity to open a conversation. Right. And that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
That's very Pete-like.
Sorry?
Very Pete-like.
Oh, yeah. We've all seen that.
In fact, one comment on one of the videos was from someone who disagreed and said, I have to tell you, I disagree with this idea, but the way you're saying it, I'm really enjoying the way you're expressing your opinions, which was great.
Absolutely. Patrick Stanfield Jones in the Hudson Valley, one of my good friends from one of the bands I used to run there, says, love this duo. Thank you for keeping focus on what we can do. Sing our ideas and hearts together, Ms. Cathy Fink and Ms. Marcy Marxer. Thanks.
Thank you, Patrick.
He actually did something similar to what you're doing with the Chinese. There was a Tibetan musician who came to the Hudson Valley a year ago, and Patrick, who's an incredible guitarist, they did some sessions together, public sessions, and it was fantastic. So good to see you out there, Patrick. So there is this purpose, though, for songs, too. There's a big gathering coming up next Saturday. It should be the biggest yet, I assume. And you did write this with Tom?
Yeah, Tom really wrote all the lyrics. And he called me and he said, let's work on the music together. I'm not going to take any credit for the lyrics. But I worked on the music with him, and then Marcy and I together produced the music into the song that you hear, and gathered some fabulous folks in the backyard for the sing-along part of this so that it would really come alive. And by the way, sitting next to Tom on the left is Alice Gerard, who at 91 is still writing amazing songs. And on the other side is Dee Dee Wyland, one of the most beautiful bluegrass vocalists out there.
That's so great. You know, I'm going to try to make these Sunday night sessions more regular now, especially because here in Maine, the sun sets earlier and earlier, you know.
Oh, everywhere. I think that happens everywhere.
Oh, it happens everywhere, but here it really happens. Like 3:45 p.m. sunset on December 21st. So Sunday evenings are a good time for me to kind of get online and do this kind of thing. So maybe I can get them on here sometime soon. We can have you can come on too. So let's play away here. Hold on. Here's No Kings Here.
Kings Here.
No kings here, not in my America. No kings here, not in my USA. Got no need for royalty. We believe in loyalty to what we call democracy. No kings here. George Washington was president, not just once but twice. And when they offered him a crown, he gave them this advice: no kings here, not in my America. No kings here, not in my USA. Got no need for royalty. We believe in loyalty to what we call democracy. No kings here. When Betsy Ross sewed up the flag, she found one thing was true: there was no room for purple. It was all red, white, and blue. No kings here, not in my America. No kings here, not in my USA. Got no need for royalty. We believe in loyalty to what we call democracy. No kings here. We had a king once years ago, back in days of yore. He showed us what kings were like, so we showed him the door. No kings here, not in my America. No kings here, not in my USA. Got no need for royalty. We believe in loyalty to what we call democracy. No kings here. Got no need for royalty. We believe in loyalty to what we call democracy. No kings here.
You're rocking out on guitar there.
That's Marcy Marxer on that wild electric guitar. I feel like Tom's in his best possible voice. And,
Yeah.
you know, Tom's being Bruce Springsteen and Marcy's being Jimi Hendrix.
There you go. I mean, you know, we're in a world where there's still octogenarian Rolling Stones on tour, et cetera. So anything is
Tom's
possible.
turning 88
That's right.
in a couple of weeks. And this is the kind of thing he's still doing.
And it's great. You'll be able to celebrate. That's at Birchmere. There's a bit of a Tom Paxton celebration happening.
Absolutely.
Not just a bit of one, a really big one.
A big one.
Can I ask you to close us out with maybe one more tune?
Sure.
There's a lot of people watching, so it's good. This is what I like about live tours.
I was thinking about Howdy Little Newly Come, but I'm also thinking about Find a Little Peace.
Okay.
Do you feel like doing Find a Little
Sure.
Peace? Yeah. This is a song that Marcy wrote. And Marcy...
Can't play your guitar.
Yeah. Marcy doesn't write tons of songs, but the ones that she writes are just perfect.
Well, thank you. And I hope that people watching will sing along. Let's see.
It's called Find a Little Peace. And, you know, true to form for the kinds of songs that we learned from Pete, which Lee Hayes called zipper songs. You just change a word or two and you got your new verse.
Right.
But this has kind of become one of our favorites, and it's been passing around amongst other things, the ukulele community and the kind of community sings that we're familiar with.
Different kind of political song. Sister, lay your head down. Sister, lay your head down. Sister, lay your head down. Find a little peace along the way. Find a little peace.
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 Find a little peace along the way.
Brother, lay your head down. Brother, lay your head down. Brother, lay your head down. Find a little peace along the way. Find a little peace.
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 Find a little peace
along the way. Mothers, lay your head down. Mothers, lay your head down. Mothers, lay your head down. Find a little peace along the way. Find a little peace.
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 Find a little peace along the
way. How about one from Marchers?
Marchers, lay your head down.
Marchers, lay your head down.
Marchers, lay your head down.
Find a little peace along the way. Find a little peace.
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 Find a little peace along the way.
And for whatever reason, so many people have to leave their homes and move to another place. So we're going to say travelers. Travelers, lay your head down. Travelers, lay your head down. Travelers, lay your head down. Find a little peace along the way. Find a little peace.
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 Find a little peace along the way.
Find a little peace.
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 Find a little peace along the way.
That was beautiful. And again, these are long journeys we're on. There's no switch that just takes us back to some unattainable past. It's all about moving forward and dealing with a lot of complexity and a lot of turmoil and deep uncertainty. So finding a little peace along the way is critical for everybody to find a place to breathe. Richard Butler, who used to be the lead singer of the Psychedelic Furs, just an ultimate rock band, who was a friend of ours from the Hudson Valley. He wrote a song years ago after he was in that band called Breathe. It's about breathing, and it's magic. So thanks so much to both of you for coming on Sunday Sanity episode of Sustain What, where we try to find a little peace along the way through conversation and in these shows, music and poetry and the like. I hope you can come back sometime. And there actually are still a lot of people watching. So if you can you stay on for another few minutes? Maybe we could just talk a little more.
Sure.
I don't want to have people just sort of go, oh shoot, I just turned on. Can I offer you a song?
Yes, please.
It's there's this wacky online annual songwriting thing that a friend of mine from a workshop in Bar Harbor turned me on to, called the February Album Writing Month. It's FAWM.org. And it was like a month-long series of prompts and stuff. And it's global. Like one of the best songs that I saw was from some guy in Australia. And one of the prompts one day was Time Machine. Like, write a song, and I'm thinking, what the hell? Okay, what am I going to do? So I projected forward to a presidential election year, 2044. And you'll see why that's relevant in a second. And it's kind of semi-hopeful. Let's see if I can do it. You can see my Aunt Martha's wonderful 115-year-old Fairbanks guitar.
Whoa.
Don't know how I got here 2044. Somehow the world avoided nuclear war. Somehow the climate didn't go to hell. Somehow the Constitution never fell. Presidential candidates are on the stump. Sasha Obama and Barron Trump. Well, that's not the weirdest thing I have to relate. They're both kind of sane and talking pretty straight. That change didn't happen on its own. Sun let out a flare and all our circuits were blown. AI fried, satellites died, people had to live without a telephone. Don't know how I got here 2044. Somehow the world avoided nuclear war. Somehow the climate didn't go to hell. Somehow the Constitution never fell. Of course that is a dream. The sun won't set us straight. It'll take a lot of work to really make this country great again. So join yourself a club or a PTA. Even run for office if you feel that way. Find yourself a goal that suits your skills and heart. That's how we'll take back the power from the oligarchs. I said, find yourself a goal that suits your skills and heart. That's how we'll take back the power from the oligarchs. Don't know how I got here 2044. Somehow the world avoided nuclear war. Somehow the climate didn't go to hell. Somehow the Constitution never fell.
All right.
That's
That's hopeful. Well, we've got one last song for you here.
That's great.
Grab your cello banjo.
Oh, okay.
We'll go full circle. This is a song with a Woody Guthrie lyric called "Howdy Little Newly Come," and you can hear Woody speak this as a poem, actually, on a Smithsonian Folkways album.
Oh, is that one of those that new set of recordings or an
No,
older?
it's not. It's an old one.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
And so years ago, maybe 15 years ago. I can't even quite remember. Might have been 10, might have been 15. Anyway, Nora Guthrie, who, as you know, was curating the Woody Guthrie archives. The 2 Mermaid Avenue albums came out, which were fantastic and really clarified that, and the one that the Cosmatics did, that there were all these amazing Woody Guthrie lyrics that needed music. And she invited us to be part of that, sent us a big stack of lyrics. And on the very top was this poem, Howdy Little Newly Come, welcoming a new baby into the family. And so we had the pleasure of putting music to it.
Wow.
And recording it. We actually recorded it on an album called Dancing in the Kitchen, Songs for All Families. And this song was recorded with Cherish the Ladies. That's right. That was really interesting. And by the way, just in case people are watching and they're interested in learning more about us, our website is www.cathymarcy.com, CATHYMARCY. And our music is also there. Our schedule is there. And a lot of our newer music is mostly on Bandcamp. No Kings Here is on Bandcamp. It Ain't Gonna Go Away is on Bandcamp as a single, and lots of other stuff. But anyway, here's Howdy Little Newly Come. And we put it together with a little Irish tune called Patty on the Railroad.
Great.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to tune.
While you're tuning, I'm going to say that I love the way Woody Guthrie played with words.
Oh, yeah.
Like that word for a newborn baby or whatever. Newbie come?
He had his way with words. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll sing to you my song. I'd like to tell you all about the place where you come from. I'm going to my bosom and feel you soft warm. I'll tell you how you found your way from where you were born. This is your part. And held each two hands, danced way together to your newborn angel's land. Die-di-di-di-di-dum, 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 die-di-di-di-dum. We took honey sweet to make your feet good, bread to make your head. We took good cheese to make your knees and charms to make your arms. With the wind that blows from made your toes, the rain that made your hands. And this is how we found you in your newborn angel's land. Die-di-di-di-di-dum, 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 die-di-di-di-dum. So howdy, little newly come, I'll sing you my song. I'd like to tell you all that place where you come from. I'm close to my bosom and feeling so warm. Tell me how you found your way where you were born. Die-di-di-di-di-dum, 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 die-di-di. One more. Die-di-di-di-di-dum.
Wow. Absolutely amazing.
And it
Absolutely amazing.
was done by
Fantastic.
Cathy Fink and Woody Guthrie. And whoever thought when I started out as a folk singer 52 years ago that I could ever say those words. And by the way, if you haven't seen the instrument that Marcy's playing, it's a 4-string cello banjo. It goes back over 100 years to the days when if you wanted to be popular, you would join a banjo orchestra and you might just want the 4-string cello banjo. But Marcy has reinvented this instrument to fit into old time music and folk music and funk music and all kinds of really interesting stuff.
Absolutely great. Thanks so much for being on. Hope you can come back on sometime. Deirdre Ann Harris from Ireland says, "Peace and love from Ireland. Thanks for the tunes."
Sweet.
And anyone who's watching now or stumbles on this later, you can share it with everybody. It's on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Substack Live. Yes, even X/Twitter. And you can plug it on Blue Sky, etc., TikTok when we're done. This is a spectacular episode of Sunday Sanity. This is Andy Revkin with Cathy Fink and Marcy Marxer. And have a good rest of your evening and a good rest of the week up to October 18th to No King's Day. Where are you going? Are you
take care of each other?
And take care of each other, yes, and breathe along the way, rest along the way. Thanks again. Super duper. This was just great.
Thank you so much.
Hold on just one second and we'll wrap it up.